Monday morning, October the 26th. Rise and shine. I'm Wesh 2 First Warning Meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather. Today, big story, obviously, Hurricane Melissa. This is the very latest Hurricane Hunter data. Went through this morning. They've done one pass and they are on their way inbound now for a second pass. We'll see what ends up being from this storm system. Part of me wonders if they missed a direct pass that first time. They lost like 1,000 feet. Looks like it was a very, very rough go. But at any rate, powerful hurricane. All right, so here's the latest satellite imagery on Hurricane Melissa. It is a Category 4 storm. Winds are sitting at 140 miles an hour. This is a Category 4. This is a powerful hurricane. This is a very, very strong system. This is going to be a very rough go for our friends in Jamaica. Now, I am not a hyper, so everything that I say here is my genuine belief. And looking at the model data, this is going to be a rough go for our friends there. This really and truly is. Now, we're going to get into the models and all that stuff. But before we get too far, I just want to show you the very latest forecast from the National Hurricane Center, okay? Expected to become a Category 5 hurricane overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. Winds expected 160 miles an hour. Now, it could get a little stronger. It could even hit that intensity a little quicker. That's a very real possibility. Then it makes this hard right turn, gets picked up by a weakness in the ridge over us, basically. Cold front. Basically, the cold front over top of us is going to sweep it up and pull it away from us. And finally, get it moving. Okay. But during that process, as it just sits over Jamaica, this will produce such significant rain. It is genuinely concerning. This is the model data from our futurecast, okay? And give it a second. It's got to go buffer the data because I haven't pulled it up. I pulled it up on the other computer, not on this computer. See, you have to let it go build the grid, of course. It's okay. Think. I'll wait. It's not like we've got people watching or anything. There we go. All right. So there's the grid, and we're just going through Tuesday night here. Okay. Through Tuesday night, still with the deep purples. Okay. And I've shown this here recently. Still with the deep purples, right? There we go. All right. So it's still buffering data. It doesn't have it all yet, but it's getting there. Okay, so this is just through, it's through 2:30 Wednesday, basically the storm passing. The deepest purples, that's 24 to 30 inches. There are white shades, that's 30 to 40 inches of rain. So that's Jamaica. That's parts of Hispaniola. That's parts of Cuba. So this path right in here, we're talking about a very, very significant impact, a very, very significant impact from this hurricane. That is a clear, clear concern, very clear concern for our friends that are living there, stuck there, dealing with this. A very clear concern. Obviously, that is a bad scenario. Now, remember that hurricanes do hit the Caribbean islands often, but it's not like Jamaica gets hit very often. As a matter of fact, you really have to go back a ways back. You have to go to like Gilbert in 1988. The last storm that was this strong was Gilbert. $10 billion in damage, adjusted, of course, for inflation. That was a Category 3 storm system. So when we look at kind of the details on this, let's just look at the hits, runs, and errors. Let's take a step back and look at the forest through the trees, okay? We're in the midst of a rapid intensification cycle, okay? This will be the strongest hurricane to hit Jamaica since Gilbert in 1988. And because of all of that rainfall, because of the significance of the flooding. Oh, this is going to be truthfully a bad situation for our friends and our family in Jamaica. Truthfully, a bad situation there. Okay, so that's what we're tracking right now. I wish that we had better news to share for our friends and family there, but I don't. It's just not going to be like that kind of a system. Okay, the greatest waffle says this is looking bad. It's true. This is looking bad. Praying for all those people in its path, it just sickens me, Stacy says. Yeah, yeah, that's all we can do. I looked at the NOTAMs to the airport, and it looks like commercial service has shut down. But checking the NOTAMs, and I'll show you here. Checking the NOTAMs to the airport. So Sangster International is what it looks like is the airport there. Okay. And if you look here, no ATS. I assume that that's no air traffic service available due to Hurricane Melissa. That's effective 2 p.m. today. And then AD closed due to Tropical Storm Melissa expiration estimated. Of course, but you get the idea, right? So the airport, while there may not be commercial service, it looks like the rest of the services will be shutting down for the airport this afternoon. Okay. And then from there, obviously, they're isolated. And the concern here is that once they go isolated, the last time that a storm hit anywhere near this intensity, the airport was closed for weeks. For weeks. 2 weeks. And I believe it was a Category 2 storm that closed the airport for 2 weeks. So then, of course, the concern becomes humanitarian crisis, right? You don't want to see that playing out for anybody. So once this leaves, I want you, just like Fred Rogers said, I want you to look for the helpers and remember what organizations are going and helping. Okay, because those are going to be the ones that will always be there to help everybody out. All right, let's look at the Hurricane Hunter data. They've turned inbound. All right, so I spent the morning and I didn't tweet and post as much as I would have liked because I spent the morning trying to put together some of these raw Recon products in the new graphics package. And so what I'm personally doing is I'm waiting to see as they get closer. And you know what? I'm going to widen this view out just a little bit. Scene camera, widen. All right, there we are. All right. I want to see, yeah, I'm going to be watching this because I want to see if the pressure that they read from the Hurricane Hunter, and this is something, this is what I was working on the new graphics package. So that's why, I'm a little tardy to get on here, but there you go. So basically, 949 millibars is what we found in the last core punch. And as we continue to follow this Hurricane Hunter mission, I'm going to be watching to see how this goes for the next core punch. I want to see what the pressure trend looks like. All right. So we're going to be watching this closely, very, very closely. We're going to be watching this. That 949 on the top needs to get shifted down. Bear with me. I'm going to fix this. This is that making of the sausage that you guys all know and love so much. Info group. Build here. Bear with me a second. Numbers. Okay, there we go. Perfect. All right. That's perfect. Just had to fix it. My eye was also what's awful is so I built this with the SFMR, but they don't have an SFMR apparently on this aircraft. So that's going to be a struggle there. All right, Roberto, coffee news. Good morning to you, Roberto. Hope you're doing well. For those of you that are on Facebook, I am not seemingly getting Facebook comments this morning, so I apologize if I'm not responding to you all. For whatever reason, the Facebook API is not working for comments. So, um, looks like we're posting to Facebook, but I'm gonna, you know what? I'll open up my Facebook feed here in another window. That way I can see it. I'll open up the Eric Burris meteorologist Facebook just so I can see what we're talking about over there. So if I haven't answered any of your questions yet, yes, I see a bunch of the comments that I've completely missed. So I apologize for that. All right. Okay, there we are. Please tell me about the Cayman Islands. So this looks like it's going to want to miss for the most part the Cayman Islands. I mean, it's going to curve very, very closely from Jamaica. So let's come back over to the forecast from the National Hurricane Center and notice what we're looking at here. So that's Jamaica. So for the Cayman Islands, right? That's on the left side of the screen there. It does not look like it's going to be um, directly impacting it all. The pressure is crazy how low it can drop. Good morning. Yes, it's crazy. 949 millibars is the lowest that they tracked, and we more than likely will see lower over the next few days' time. Um, Mad Panda on Twitter says, "Does it seem like they closed the airports earlier than necessary?" Listen, I'm a meteorologist. I'm not going to go start having conversations about, what they should have done, what they could have done, that sort of thing. That's out of my purview. All right, how hot are the waters around Jamaica? Plenty hot, 86, 87, 88 degrees, plenty hot to not only develop something tropical, but also to fuel it just incredibly fast. That is obviously a very, very big concern. Now, I think at this point we've got the idea of just how much rain is going to be caused, just how much wind is going to be caused. I mean, that is just a terrible scenario. Darlene says Jamaica's got nowhere to go, right? That's just awful. Missy says my husband's boss decided to keep his plans and fly to his daughter in Jamaica Thursday because they paid for a resort reunion. We are extremely worried about them. We tried to get him to stay. Missy, I don't know. I don't know what to say. That was a that was a bad idea. Yeah. I know you did what you could. And outside of that, it's just um, I, I don't like to hear that. Yeah. Let's see here. Debbie, I saw where one extreme storm chaser went to Jamaica, but then the next day came home due to the expected aftermath. That's the thing. It's not that folks won't be able to survive. I mean, there's going to be, I would imagine, I would imagine there will be loss of life with the kind of storm surge and rain that we're looking at, and that's just the terrible, sad truth. But the aftermath, the isolation of being stuck there, that's the concern. Truly, truly going to be a bad situation there. Yeah. I'm sure they wanted to keep the airport open as long as possible, especially to evacuate non residents. Who wants all the entitled tourists there? Well, who wants the tourists there? They don't need to be eating the food of those that are going to be needing to eat the food after the fact. Absolutely correct. It's true. It's true. It's true. At this point, all you can do is just hope it speeds up, Doug says. That's it. Now, all right, let's look at some of the raw models here. First off, there's the grand ensemble. No surprise. I mean, it's doing its thing. All right, let's look at some of the model data here. We'll switch over to the Greater Antilles, so we've got a closer inspection, and I'm going to switch this over to wind speed. All right, wind speeds. All right, and we're just going to roll this through time, right? Perfect. Hit that button, hit that button. Okay. All right. So rolling through time. I'll lose the little hurricane box on the left side for just a second. We don't need it there for now. All right. So approaching Jamaica, very near Jamaica, but it's going to be here 8Z on Tuesday. So that's going to be 4 a.m. on Tuesday, according to the GFS, that the hurricane brings its hurricane force winds ashore. I would also add, remember, the GFS was an outlier for a very long while, and it did finally come around to the thinking of the rest of us, of the rest of the models, I should say. Right? I can't even imagine living on a place like Jamaica and getting hit by a Category 4 or 5 storm, as the island might not be habitable for a while. I mean, I'm not going to say that the island may or may not be habitable. I, I I've seen some meteorologists say that. I hate that hype type stuff. I will say though that this is going to be a very, very rough go for them. Their infrastructure's not there. Some areas are going to get absolutely pummeled. Other areas are just going to get terrible flooding rains, right? And it just depends on where that exact center of circulation goes. So comes ashore. That's 4 a.m. Tuesday. Tuesday's gonna be Monday into Tuesday, very rough, very rough. Then afterward, that's Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pulls away, gets over to Cuba, crosses out near Gitmo. Tuesday, Wednesday, according to the GFS, then crosses the lower Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Wednesday, and then clears on out. Right? Okay. Now let's see. Surface. I don't know that I don't have that here. Climate reanalysis. What I'm looking for. I was looking for wave heights, and of course, it's not going to be showing up here where I can easily find it. Ensembles, blend of models, climate reanalysis. I'll have to dig through there a little bit deeper to find it. Wave Watch 3. There we are. Wave heights. All right. So for my friends going to the Bahamas, all right. So let's talk about wave heights for the Bahamas, right? So we're looking at 6, 7 foot waves right now. Okay. But notice wind, wave, height, and swell. All right. So here we are. So there's the swell picking up. All right. So that's Wednesday. Swell picking up for the northern Bahamas. Notice inside the Bahamas, the gray shades, right? So most of the cruise ships are going to go hide inside the Bahamas. And isn't it wild how they're going to be just fine? Because as the hurricane goes through, you're looking at 40-foot waves in the hurricane going into the Turks and Caicos. Meanwhile, if you're in like Nassau, it's going to be breezy, but it won't be bad at all. The swell picks up, right? So that's the wave height. Okay. And notice how the wave height picks up, but it never gets to the inside of the Bahamas. Isn't that remarkable how that plays out? Now, the extended period, these are going to be long period swells, 9, 10-second swells. So it's going to be a very long period. And that's going to continue for the next couple of days. But in terms of wave heights, isn't it remarkable that the Bahamas just completely quieted down? They act like such a barrier. So for cruisers, as long as you stay inside the Bahamas, you're going to be just fine. Which I just always think that that's amazing. You know what I mean? I just think that that's amazing stuff. All right. So anyway, for those that were asking about that, that's kind of where we're at. All right. All right. So let's go get another check of the recon data. 5 minutes. Thank you. Hit that. All right, so they're about to make a core pass. So listen, we're gonna have to do the coffee talk thing until we see what this latest core pass shows. Tony, are we really going to dodge every bullet this hurricane season? Tony, don't say that out loud. We don't know. Evan, people asking if it will hit Florida. Does it look like it will? Look at the screen. You can see Florida in the picture and the storm moving away. Yeah, it's clearly not moving to Florida, which is good for us. Yes. Field trip today. Yes, we're going to do a field trip today. Looking like it's been a while since it's happened. Look, I would certainly hope. All right, so look at that. All right, so just got that data update from the Hurricane Hunter. And it looks like the pressure was 948 millibars. So they found 949 the last time. So it looks like the pressure got down just a little bit. Just a little bit. All right. Yeah. Daddy Shark. People wonder why cruises are cheaper during this time of year and then complain about the hurricanes. Well, listen, listen. It is what it is. You and I, we don't control that. But yeah. So it looks like pressure went down about a millibar from the last pass of 949 to 948 millibars. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Kelly, so you're saying it's not going to hit Florida. This is not, thankfully, this one is not going to hit Florida. Right. Um, I heard that, oh, geez, Tony. I'm not saying that. You almost got me to say that one out loud. Evan says people worrying about Florida like they have to be worried about. Florida will be fine. Have some. Well, look, Lisa, everybody's social media is a rough place. That's all I'm going to say. Jessica says, oh, those poor people. We've been spared, but at the cost of someone else. That's true, unfortunately. Yeah. And also, Our World Delta 2 says we still have to go through November. That's the truth. There's still plenty of hurricane season left to go. All right, I need to build my Today Show hit, so bear with me here, friends. While we're doing that, and we're watching the Hurricane Hunter go through there. Let's see here. It's a self-sustaining heat engine now. It will keep lowering until dry air land impacts it. That's true. It's ventilating itself. It's doing its thing. The water is deep enough there that it will have no problems continuing to strengthen. Let's see here. Got to pull in some live radar because we're tracking some showers. We're going to do our local forecast after this Today Show hit, by the way, friends. We'll do that, and we'll do that. Do that. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason that this won't stop intensifying, right? That's the problem. Somewhat of a quiet year compared to the last few, but this storm is just a reminder all it takes is one. Well, quiet year for us, but obviously not for Jamaica. I mean, they're going to end up taking this awful, awful hurricane. Cuba, the Dominican Republic, and Haiti, who's not even going to be directly landfalled with it, they're going to end up taking this hurricane, right? So yeah, quiet in what terms, I guess, is the problem. Do that. All right. Uh, Come over here, put that in there. We'll do future cast today times future cast cold front, and then we'll do the 7th day. All right. We'll do set as hot button. Okay. I don't think I've ever seen a hurricane move so slowly, Robin says. Robin, go look at Dorian. That hurricane went to the Bahamas and then just sat there for a few days. That was a wild one. That one in particular was awful because it just sat there over the Bahamas. And then for us, it was just like, are you going to come and hit us? Are you not going to come and hit us? That one was that was awful. That was an awful one. So, yeah. All right, let's walk over here. We're going to do local here. Yeah. I figure the Today Show's doing a lot, right? All right, let's see here. Other comments. Dorian was a sloth, right? It was. All right, stand by, friends. Stand by. We'll do local, by the way, after this Today Show cut in. Stand by.
We are. We're starting with clouds and even rain. This is in Melbourne, looking off toward the Atlantic, and obviously there's some showers in the vicinity. The temperatures are not cool out the door this morning. It's nearly 80 in Melbourne, 73 for Kissimmee, St. Cloud, 72 in Orlando. And while, yes, we do have some 60s on the map, there is a big change. To our first warning, live radar we go, and there are some showers coming on in. And those showers indicate that wind has started to turn. Today, like yesterday, will be breezy to even gusty. We'll pick up on these rains, maybe even get a few thunderstorms trying to develop as temperatures climb into the lower range of the 80s. Now, here's Futurecast. Lunchtime today, pockets of heavier rain from time to time. Notice through 3 o'clock. Essentially, the metro off to the east is where we have the highest coverage of rainfall. That continues right through dinner time and right to bedtime. Then we look ahead to tomorrow. Our next big weather maker, which is a cold front, gradually approaches us. As it does so, it really helps to spark up the moisture. So for our Monday, showers, even thunder showers, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, a set of cold fronts move through and really change the game. Take a look. It's 85 tomorrow, then 72 on Thursday, 71 a high temperature on Friday. Look at our Halloween forecast. It's looking absolutely wonderful with temperatures in the 60s for trick or treating. We're staying nice and cool. Look at that morning, 40s and 50s. It is fall in Central Florida.
Okay. SC on Twitter says it seems like it's going to be Hurricane Maria for Jamaica. Every hurricane is different. This one is moving so slow also that there's an additional concern of the flooding. That is just such a big worry there. So it's different. Every one of these is different. So it's tough to just say like it's going to be the this of the that. You can't quite go like that. But it does look like the pressure went down just a smidge, so certainly there's that to play into it, right? All right, let me look over at Facebook since Facebook is not working on my syndicator this morning. Dorian just hit the brakes and was surreal to watch. It's true. And the Mike says, just noticed that Eric has no tie today. On weekends, I'm allowed to not wear a tie. I love it. As long as they let me do it. As long as they let me do it. All right. John says, you wild man, no tie. Just on the weekends. Just on the weekends. Just on the weekends. Let's see here. So Kim's asking, will this storm recycle? Probably some form of it will recycle. Yeah, that's the idea there, right? All right. I feel bad for the potential loss like this. Yeah, well, I think that there's going to be a significant impact there. Now, back here at home, let's talk a little bit about our local forecast, okay? Today, tomorrow, we do have some rain in the forecast because we're setting ourselves up for a couple of cold fronts to march our direction, okay? So let's just take a moment and look at that 7-day forecast, and then we're going to break it down with futurecast here, okay? 40% coverage of rain today, 60% coverage of rain for tomorrow. Then look at what happens Wednesday, Thursday. Look at Friday. You guys see that? Like high temperatures on Friday, 72 degrees. Look at Friday morning. That's 40s and 50s in town. Saturday morning, very, very shocking to the system. We've got fall moving into Central Florida. So we really and for Halloween, let's just set this up, okay? For trick or treating, look at how nice. I mean, this is awesome stuff, right? Look at how beautiful this is. 60s for the afternoon, into the lower 70s for many locations. And then yeah, for trick or treaters, I think we're going to be doing just beautifully. Just so nice. Just so nice. Yukon's asking, since recycling was mentioned, have you figured out why the pattern shifted from your forecast? Not a criticism, just curious. It's not that it didn't. Listen, everything that we highlighted did happen, just not in a tropical sense. But those storms, every part of the pattern recycled right where and when we said they just didn't go tropical. So yeah, I mean, they were there. There you go. Just some, some, what do they say? Sometimes you're the statue, sometimes you're the bird, you know? Jenny says, so you're saying I won't sweat to death trick or treating? You or I? Yeah. Fall Festival at Lake Eola will be seasonal. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. It's just going to be beautiful. This is a gorgeous forecast. Is there anything beyond Melissa? Let me dial it up for you. Stand by. All right. Give me a second. We'll go to the GFS. We'll go to the ensembles. Let's look at the ensembles. All right, there's Melissa moving out. I mean, there's some ensemble support for something in the Caribbean. Nothing significant, but there's some ensemble support. Let's switch over to the European. There's Melissa. Zero Z. The ensemble, the Euro's got a couple members there. So, it's possible. It doesn't look like there's a home run of a signal, but there's something. All right. All right, that's all we've got. Listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you all so much for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I will see you on TV 9 to 10 a.m. We've got Wesh 2 News Sunrise on Sundays. All right. All right. Take care, everybody.